you hear the expression, God, I wonder what these streets would say if they could talk. Sarasota Street Talk is making the streets talk, and we're recording what they're saying. So that, to me, that is what Sarasota Street Talk is all about.
Sarasota Street Talk is to introduce people of the surroundings.
We're literally right now, we're downtown Sarasota, and we hear people all around us telling different stories. Those are the streets talking.
Hey, Scotty, how you doing, sir?
Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
Another beautiful day here in downtown Sarasota.
Yeah, and it's cleared up.
That sun is fighting to come out, isn't it?
It's just fighting. It's fighting to come out right now. So my name is Mark Klecka. I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker here downtown. My partner in crime right here is Mr.
Scott Maloff with Summit Lending Solutions, mortgage broker here in Sarasota.
Yeah, and we are here every Saturday. Well, okay, so the third Saturday of each month, we are at the Bazaar at Apricot and Lime, which is located, Scott, where?
Apricot and Lime.
That's correct. That's correct. It's Apricot and Lime.
And the first, second, fourth, and if there's a fifth Saturday, we're here.
We're here,
in front of
right
Gator Club
in front of Gator Club.
Books.
Gator Club and Parker's Books are gracious enough to allow us to go ahead and come here and just have our shenanigans and just talk to the people of downtown. It's, if the streets of Sarasota could talk, what would they say?
Right.
The people here are the streets of Sarasota. That's what we have. It's the whole point.
That's why we're called Sarasota Street Talk.
Yep. Well, very ironic, Scotty.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why we're here. So we encourage people to come and talk to us, but then we are lucky enough also to have very special guests with us too from time to time, and ones that are instrumental in the goings-on and what happens here in this beautiful city. And we're lucky enough today. I'm sorry, Scott.
And before we bring him on,
yes,
there's a thing we do every Saturday.
Yeah.
That I think we might have skipped last week. And since we have a guest here who is involved in music,
yeah,
it reminded me.
Let's save it to the end.
At the end of this?
Yeah, let's save it to the end. Let's save it to the end.
Or the end of the day?
No. Yeah, end of the day.
Okay.
End of the day. End of the day. But
never mind. Sorry, I digress.
That's okay. I digress all the time, man. I am ADD like you wouldn't believe.
Squirrel.
What?
Squirrel.
Yeah, so that's
what
me.
we do.
So thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Grano. We have here from Next Mark, Communications, is here with us, and he is instrumental. We'll allow him obviously to introduce himself, but from the little bit that I know, and there's so much more that he does, is a company is responsible for the Fresh Fridays that we all enjoy here so much. Am I correct with that?
You are correct. You are correct.
And welcome. Thank you so much for taking the
Mark,
time for coming
Scott,
by.
What a wonderful morning to be out here. It's nice and cool.
Yep.
It's a great morning here in downtown Sarasota, and I do appreciate this opportunity.
No.
As Mark said, I'm Joe Grano, and I'm the president of Nextmark. We're actually a full-service marketing communications company based here in downtown Sarasota. We're over at 40 South Pineapple, just directly across from the Mark.
Okay.
And we've had the distinct pleasure, this is our third year of producing the Fresh Fridays events, which has grown into, we probably had over 2,000 people here in
it's a
January.
staple. Like people they look forward to that.
The fabric of the downtown community.
It is.
People
talk about it for weeks leading up to it.
And didn't it actually start off as being, and I remember this, I think this was a little while ago, where the balloons would happen, and then the stores would then have like cheese and wine. Was that the very beginning, or was that a different event? Was that a different event?
The history is kind of interesting because our former commissioner and mayor, Hagan Brody, had this idea that we should do a First Friday event in Sarasota to compete with areas like St. Pete and other areas like Lakewood Ranch that do First Fridays. And what they asked us to do and what we were tasked with doing was to really elevate the conversation about downtown and Friday nights and bring in live music and really do something that was very different than what had been done before, that really spoke to the persona of the downtown community and attracted people here really from throughout the region. And that's been a game changer from that standpoint. So the folks with the balloons and the First Friday merchant events, they're still doing those independently along with the Palm Avenue Art Walk, But we would like to believe that that partnership has helped really across the board in bringing people downtown. And many of the merchants are engaged, and they'll do events prior to our 7 o'clock start time, which is all part of the design and all part of it. And I think it's important from a historic standpoint also to mention the Downtown Improvement District, which is part of the city of Sarasota. So the Downtown Improvement District is a perimeter that surrounds exactly where we're sitting here. It's a self-taxing district, and these self-taxing districts are all throughout the state of Florida and actually in other states around the country, and they do a supplemental tax that drives infrastructure projects, capital projects, and events. Some self-taxing districts are even spending more money on events than this one is. It's about 17% of their budget is spent on events, and they raise self-taxing wise around $1 million a year, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And that's what's really been the driver. And along with board members like Chris Voker, who owns Bezo Restaurant here in State Street, they have been great partners in really getting these events out there and getting them up on the street.
Yeah, no, I totally enjoy and look forward to each one of these. And unfortunately, I've been to, well, I try to make as many as I can. Unfortunately, with the podcast here on Saturdays, I'm usually, because I know myself.
I still make it.
Scott makes it out there.
Scott's there.
I still get there.
And this, I'm making it this time.
Okay.
Like I'm making
February,
it this.
yep.
I may not last the entire evening, but I'm gonna make it. But a question too, though. So it did start off at State Street, right? So this was a while ago,
right.
And we don't have to get too much into the logistics and the rigmarole and the shenanigans that happened in the interim. But there were some things that happened that caused it to then change to go to various locations, right?
If you go back to the original presentation that I gave at City Hall when we launched this, and look, we've learned a lot. We've made some tweaks along the way, and we've made some changes. The goal always was to move it throughout the district. So we've done Selby 5 Points. We've done State Street. We've done Palm Avenue adjacent to the Art Ovation Hotel. We just did Palm Avenue in McCanch just a couple of months ago.
Right.
And it really... I think look, the board at the end of the day makes the ultimate decision. I go where I'm told, right? And, jokingly, with lots of discussion and counsel on both parts. But our goal has been really to showcase the diversity of each of our streets downtown. There is an affinity for State Street, and we are doing it January. We just did in January. We'll be back there in February and in March because they have a great infrastructure. That street was rebuilt for events, just like the farmers market today.
Right.
They have great power, they have great lighting, and the parking is sensational. You just walk out of the ramp and you're at the event.
That is a big benefit to that versus the other locations. Yeah, but
Scott, actually, if you could move on just a little bit. Just move in.
yeah.
Yeah, we want to get you back in frame here because you're a smashing young man.
Yeah.
How do I
So-
look?
wouldn't
How do
want
I
to
look?
No, you look-
How do I look?
You look
Marvelous.
fabulous. You look marvelous.
I'm back.
He's back. The boys are back in town. No, that well said though. As far as actually, I for one initially just love the fact it's on State Street. I was very upset when it left State Street. But, it being that also it's not a thoroughfare necessarily either, so you can shut it down and easily still maneuver through downtown, which I guess is why, to your point, like what you're talking about. So when that happened and the things happened, I got a little bit upset with those that be. But then after when you started doing it was ingenious because then you went on Palm and then you went into 5 Points, bringing attention to those businesses in those areas that would not have gotten attention otherwise.
Correct.
It ended up being better.
And we did Main Street as well. We'll be back, I think, on Main Street in April.
Wow,
We'll be back on Main Street, which we love doing because it's just so core, and the city has been great. We've got to change the trolley route and do lots of things that night, and that's that's the kind of partnership that really works, and that's why we don't do Main Street every month. But the goal really is to showcase and to really create a sense of place in downtown. I think we take for granted how spectacular our downtown is and how it continues to evolve. And so many people come up and talk to me at these events, and I'm like, the first question I ask them is, where are you from? People are visiting, but lots of people have chosen to live in downtown and be part of this downtown community, and they really bring a lot of incredible energy, talent, ideas, and we really welcome that. And being part of my work life, being downtown, 40 plus hours a week, sometimes a lot more than that, is really a pleasure to be part of the downtown community.
Yeah.
And we've had on 3 commissioners, 2 mayors,
both mayors
/ commissioners.
Yep.
Kyle and Liz,
And Liz is
Alpert,
most- yep.
and then Jen,
Mhm.
and they seem very open-minded about a lot of things. Do you find working with them is like
The
fantastic?
commissioners have been great.
Yeah.
I've got to say, starting with Hagan Brody, former commissioner, he was there. I think a big part of it is just showing up, and we've had a great working relationship with Commissioner Eric Arroyo. He's been fantastic, and Kyle I've known for many years, and he's always at the event. And Liz Albert, our current mayor, opened the event last week, and she was just great and just really dynamic and really spoke to the crowd and really made it a lot of fun as well. So we need that kind of buy-in. And look, I'll walk into City Hall, and Marlon is always like, what do you need? Marlon Brown, our city manager, along with Steve Cover. They have just been instrumental. And I do, if I'm thanking people, I didn't know I was going to be doing that. But I will thank Billy Ryan is our business manager for the Downtown Improvement District and our representative in City Hall. She gets stuff done. Julie is fantastic asset to the city, as many of our city staffers are. I think we take for granted the caliber, the pedigree, and the commitment of our city staff and what it takes to run a city. I'm looking at the trolley coming by.
Oh, the Bay Runner?
There were a lot of people who didn't think the trolley was whatever. It has been such an and our company actually worked with the city in launching the trolley. We did the branding, we did the initial
Nice.
launch, and
the Bay Runner is fantastic.
The Bay Runner, yeah,
It's
the
fantastic.
Bay Runner,
Really-
the Vayo scooters, everything that just makes it such a walkable, enjoyable city.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and you don't have to worry about going to St. Armand's and finding somewhere to park. Or Lido, you just get on that baby.
Well,
You get
on
downtown
behalf
and
of
you get on
thanks-
that thing,
On
right?
behalf of St. Armand's, who we've done a lot of work with, they do have a wonderful parking
They do have a
garage
parking
there.
spot, yeah,
Very
but-
accessible and street parking. So I think that's always been a misnomer, and just like downtown, but the trolley has really created. It's been I've heard people say, "Well, my grandchildren are busy. We're gonna ride the trolley out to St. Armand's or downtown." How wonderful is
Right,
that?
yeah, and you feel
Absolutely.
safe in doing
it's
that.
free.
Because it's free.
Yep.
And it's free.
And they're adding stops along the way, so they added one by Hart's Landing now. So
Right.
now you can get right off on that secret that no one wants us to talk about, Hart's Landing. Hey, I'm sorry, guys, the word's out, okay?
Yeah.
Hart's Landing is a fantastic venue now, live music and everything right over by the bridge. But I digress. So I live right downtown. Like, I'm ridiculously close. In fact, I can see where I live pretty much from here. And so I appreciate so much what you do and what everyone here does to make this a vibrant downtown area, because it's just so enjoyable everywhere. How can we help? How can the public help? Like, is there ways that the public can help?
Well,
you do further what you do?
Right. Well, we actually
Doesn't
run
happen by itself,
the social media for the Downtown Improvement District. So you can go on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and join those pages like us. We have thousands of followers right now that we've just grown organically. And what we do on that page is just keep you up to date on what's happening in the Downtown Improvement District, what's happening in the city, and just also showcasing local merchants. So we launched a series recently called The Faces of the Did, and we're actually walking throughout and talking to merchants, and not just merchants, but we had a video with the folks from Caldwell Trust, with one of their partners, and we've talked to other businesses. Like, I might not be quote unquote a retail merchant, but I am a service business based in downtown Sarasota. So it's so critical to understand there's lots of folks that make up the downtown, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a retailer, whether it's a service industry business or a gym. We have all of that here. So we're showcasing that with this series called The Faces of the Did. And every month we do 3 to 6 interviews with local merchants, post those online, promote those. There's also a Downtown Improvement District newsletter along with a Fresh Fridays newsletter that goes out. The downtown one goes out once a month. It's really more about how the tax dollars are being spent, but anyone can sign up for that newsletter. It's openly available, and I do encourage people to sign up for the Fresh Fridays newsletter. We issue that every Wednesday. That goes out with all of the events and the information and what's going on. features of the events and so on. So there's lots of great communications platforms that are part of downtown, and we encourage folks to get involved with those.
Okay, I just want to mention again, we're speaking with Mr. Joseph Grano from Nextmark Communications here. He's responsible for one of the many things that they do there is the Fresh Friday events that we have here every month. So this is the gentleman and his organization that we can thank for all the fun that happens on State Street and on Five Points and Palm and just helping to bring attention to this beautiful area that we've got. And so as an individual, not a business necessarily, but an individual, can an individual help in any way? Can they either contribute? Can they
yes.
financially or support-wise, or is that something more?
Thank you for asking, Mark.
Hey, no
so
problem,
there's
Joe.
Really a wonderful article in the Observer, and I've got to thank Ian, the writer from the Observer. There's a great article this week that talks about our budgeting. We receive $10,000 from the Downtown Improvement District. And running an event for thousands of people, that includes insurance, portalets, talent, labor, advertising, everything. The city does provide in-kind services for security, trash pickup, and closing the streets, but that's really the extent of it. So we do have sponsors available, and I do want to, Mark Glecka, Caldwell Bankel Realtor, is going to be a community sponsor in February.
All right.
And so we're happy to promote them.
Anything I can do to help. I mean,
right.
I love what you guys do.
You know, we want to. We have this incredible platform to promote businesses at a really low cost. You know, our top line sponsorship is $1,000. I mean, you can't buy really a decent ad anywhere for that kind of dollars, and you really get exposed to thousands and thousands of people.
Where can somebody go to find the information to do that?
The Downtown Improvement District website, there is a download there, but you can also contact us directly via the Fresh Fridays, social media, and so on. And, we welcome, and we have had wonderful sponsors like recently we've had Azul Steakhouse and Sushi. Tosik was a sponsor. Really, we've had really a great amount, some really wonderful sponsors over the last couple of months, and we welcome additional sponsors because it really helps. If you also want to get involved, we welcome volunteers. Actually, all of our staff is paid staff that work the event. They're just folks that kind of take their professional hat off and put on a T-shirt and work on Friday nights, and we welcome that from our team. And then we have some other folks in the community that come in, and they're paid help as well. But we're thrilled to pay them, and so it makes it fun. But if people want to actually volunteer at the event, we're known for our giveaways. Every month we give away 500 to 800 items depending on our budget. And we give these like flashy LEDs. We got a fun one coming up in March. We had this LED guitar giveaway in January, and we handed out, I think, 540 minutes. Just went.
Right.
So,
and you guys did the disco thing. This by last year, you did a disco down, I believe. This is when I first kind of got introduced to what was going on.
The 80s night.
The 80s night, and I was like,
fun.
who's got...
Right.
Where'd you get that flashy necklace? Like I was like, and they'd come over here. They'd be like, down there, man, just down there. And we went there.
Our goal
nuts.
is for people to kind of be walking around town with all those flashing necklaces.
Handing that out.
And
Okay.
people asking, there's something called, in today's digital world where there's like all these choices, right? You can buy ads, there's social media, and then there's AI and all these other complicated things. Street level marketing. That's what you all are doing every Saturday. You're here, and you're really here talking to people, high touch, and giving people a voice. And that's really what this is about. And that's what Fresh Friday is about. And that's really what gets people out. And people still want to connect. They want to be part of something. And that's what these events do.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so glad you're on the show here just to kind of talk about this as well. And as it gets closer as well, please stop by. I mean, you never have to have an appointment. I mean, please, you see this seat open, grab a mic, sit down. In fact, specifically, I would like him to come back, Joe to come back, and talk as it gets closer the next week to talk.
Right.
Here we go. We're about ready to launch it.
Yeah, February 2nd is the next one.
February 2nd, 7 to 10 on State Street. So between Lemon and Orange. We don't close Lemon, so the valet parking is still available, and that's a through street, and it's really just the line of the parking garage.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great Another great, fantastic. The theme for February 2nd is Heart and Soul. I actually have some cards as reminders that I brought today that I'll leave with you guys that we pass out prior to the event. Yeah, sure. And, yeah, we can get that up on camera.
There we go. Right, let me go and switch this up right there. That's what we're looking at.
There you go.
We'll see
Awesome.
right there.
Great.
And then we'll be passing these out too.
We've done
Yeah,
flyers and we've done ads and we've done brochures, and what we realized is this little business card is probably the simplest way for people to kind of grab this, put it on the refrigerator, and not forget us. So, Valentine's month kickoff, I love the fact that we get to do it before it gets old. So we'll be the first event, this Heart and Soul event. And, it's not really about couples, but it's about people who want to spread love and bring their friends, bring their neighbors, bring anybody, and, meet people as well. It's not, a couples event by any stretch. It's really an event that just celebrates being together. And
which one is this again? I'm sorry.
Heart and
This
Soul.
is February.
Oh, this is
February
Valentine's,
2nd.
yeah, 'cause of
Heart and
Valentine's.
Soul.
Is there any way to, and maybe there's not, I don't know, but is there any way to work an artist into this or something? The only reason I'm thinking about this, I'm outside the box.
I know what you're thinking.
You know where I'm going with this?
Brandon.
Oh, no,
Brandon
Mark's
Thrift.
outside
Brandon.
the box.
Brandon
I know,
Thrift.
it's hard to believe, right? Like I live outside the box. I don't even know I don't know where the door to the box is. I'm not sure. Brandon Thrift. So
Yeah.
Brandon Thrift is such.
It's
He's
a heart. And we've worked with Brandon.
Yeah.
It's really funny because
maybe
I had
not for this gig, obviously,
well,
but I just love. You mentioned love.
It's really funny you mentioned Brandon because we do art. We did art on Palm. We've done art, art in the park. We did last year, and we did art on Lemon the first year. So every year we do an art-centric event, and Brandon always comes out and paints. But for the art event, the first one we did, which was it was a downtown art event we did over here on Lemon. The first year we did it, I gave Brandon a sport jacket that I had bought, and I asked him to just go to town on it, and he literally
cool.
painted it and made it a work of art. And it's so spectacular. I wore it the second year, last year in April. So
I want one of
hanging in
those.
my closet
cool.
right
I
now
want one of those now.
is this pink.
I
It
have-
must
I
have
have some-
value. It's like kind of like having an Andy Warhol
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I had him sign it as well, so it hangs in my office, and it's such a good
I've got a
conversation.
sport coat I
piece.
could.
Dude, you
Yeah.
totally need to have that done for you.
We need it for the show.
So,
Yeah.
so I
What a
have
great idea.
I
We
have
need
one
that.
that's a Pepto-Bismol pink that I wore the last couple of years.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna be reaching out to Brandon and ask him if he could do a number
A little
on this
bit
one
something
as
on it?
well with the heart theme for this event. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We won't necessarily tie in art, but we will be tying in a lot of special events. We'll have a special photo booth taking photos that night. We'll also have some other surprises along the way, which we'll be talking about as well. But the heart and soul theme is really what the city is all about. I think we're part of the heart and soul of a growing, dynamic, worldwide recognized city that we sometimes forget and where we're going as a city, but it's really incredible what we have here, this asset and the equity we have in the brand of Sarasota really around the world is just unbelievably dynamic, and we're grateful for that.
No doubt.
Yeah, no. And also, do you want to speak a little bit to any other events that you do through next, Mark? I know, because I know this is topmost of our head right now because it's going to be coming up, and it's just a fun event for everybody. But you're into so many more other things with your company. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, or is that?
We can talk about just a few things. Is that we're really about promoting downtown through our work with the Downtown Improvement District, but we are a full-service marketing company, and we literally have clients all over the world that we work with, and we've been so lucky. Really, post-pandemic, we became hyper-local. A lot of our clients in Philadelphia, New York, Boston, they went home and really never returned back to these offices in these major cities, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So we continue to work with them, but we saw this incredible window to be involved in much more recognized in our own community. Last year, we actually won 13 American Advertising Federation Awards for work that we've done for clients locally, whether it be videos or collateral. I actually yesterday submitted I think 14 entries for this year's competition.
Nice.
So we want to create really state-of-the-art, incredibly relevant, creative work that we do on behalf of our clients. And some of our notable clients locally is Boo's Ice House. We were working with Mindy Kaufman, the owner, for the last 3 years and getting that launched. She now has an internal team working on things, which is really the right thing to do on a day-to-day basis. But we worked on that, and we still manage their website. We've worked with launching Bezo here downtown. We've worked with State Street when they put out a new chef, and we've got a couple of big announcements coming out very soon. Another new client, very notable, that we'll be talking about. We'll bring them. We'll talk about when it
who might that
opens.
be there, Joe?
Oh yeah.
Who might that be?
Well, we have a
Yeah,
signed contract, but until I really get that one underway, I won't
Yeah, I
really
know,
talk
I know,
about
I know.
it. But it's going to be one of the game changers of downtown.
When you come at the
Wow.
end of the month, maybe you can share that.
Yeah,
Maybe you're going
we'll
to come at
see.
the end of this month to talk
Maybe the
about
end of-
February 2nd?
end of the year.
Or the end it's that far out. Okay.
I got a Jefferson in my pocket doing nothing. If you tell me.
That's all it's going to take.
I got two Jeffersons in my pocket.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't know if this, and possibly not, but I remember with the old Grand Crew right down here, with
Block 15? Block 15?
but now
Now-
Block 15
yeah,
with
Mel and Tom.
Mel and Tom. I don't know if that's something they could use your help possibly, because I know that they're looking. They have their old Siesta Key wine bar that they've got very successful
Yes.
down in Siesta
Yes.
Key. And I love the fact that they did not just bring that here, that they rebranded Block 15 as a whole nother separate entity. So I don't know if maybe if they could use your help.
They
I know.
should reach out, and
I'll
reach out
talk to them
as
too,
well.
because
Yeah.
they could use your
Yeah.
expertise.
Yeah, and if it's businesses starting in the downtown improvement district, I'm not sure if they're in. I think they are, but any businesses that are just launching, we're happy to launch them on social media within the district. We can easily do that. We'll give them a mention. We'll introduce them in newsletter. For example, the Mark, Chris Voker, who's now the chair of the downtown improvement district, noted at last week's event, there's 17 new businesses in the Mark. 17. So it's not just the restaurants and the jewelry, all those great merchants. Super
Wow, I wouldn't have
high-end.
thought that. 17
business. You've got Joe
P-
Feldman, an
yeah,
investment
P&G,
advisor.
One Books,
You've got
Spin.
Book One. You've got Spin. You've got Toastique,
North Star,
a total of 17. There's
Peso,
a bank in there.
Toasty.
Anna Molinari just moved in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So 17 businesses in that one little area, not so little anymore. But
Right.
we've seen that evolve, and that's going to continue to grow, and there's more stuff going in there. Those are the gems of the downtown, right? And those are the businesses that we like to talk about through the Downtown Improvement District. We also, we are working with clients in the region and clients nationally as well. And we've done a lot of work with not-for-profits, and that's kind of exciting, being able to work with one of our really, really important clients is the Players, the Sarasota Players. So on Thursday night, I had the pleasure of going to opening night for their Tick Tick Boom show.
Oh, yeah.
Tick Tick Boom was the predecessor to, and written by the gentleman who wrote Rent, John Larson. And he wrote this very personal play about his kind of coming of age and turning 30 and fighting with his girlfriend and wanting to be a playwright. It's really fantastic, and it's over at Siesta Crossings here in Sarasota. So anything the Players does, it's a community all-volunteer theater, and we work with them on their promotion, their PR, their social media, and design work for them as well. So those are the kind of assets that we love working with mission-driven organizations locally, and it's been really a lot of fun.
God, I'm in love with what you do, and I'm so
Yeah,
excited to be
it's very
part
cool.
of. So like you mentioned, so I did become a sponsor for the event coming up, and I'm so happy to do that. As far as also too, I don't know if we can help in any way through volunteering, or if you need any help at the event itself. I mean, of course, we would like to have
Mark
the privilege to be
and,
able to party
yeah.
too a little bit.
Well, you two
know,
are
but
incredible.
we'll
And
go-
Mark's,
yeah.
Mark's I Love Downtown group.
And it's a group, not a page. Anybody that's not a member,
I
please
love
join.
Downtown Sarasota.
I love Downtown Sarasota, ILDS.
As a guy that manages a lot of social media, I think we have over 30 sites that we manage. I Love Downtown is probably one of the biggest success story case studies that I could talk about. And
Thank
I had
you, sir.
nothing to do with it.
Wow, thank you.
But it's really
That's a lot
great
coming-
because what Mark does is it's organic, it's not self-promotion, it's informational, it's fact-based content, and it's really relevant, and he manages it and nurtures it on an hour-by-hour basis. I don't think folks really realize the amount of time that you have to put in to get those
Oh, my God. It
incredible
takes so much time.
curated posts that are out there. And he's... and I strongly encourage people to go out there and follow it. What do you have now for followers, Mark?
We have 24,000. Yeah, 24,000 and a half, I think.
It's
Yeah.
remarkable.
Which is a lot of fun because it is a private group
Right.
as well. So it's one thing just to let people just join and just kind of, but everybody's looked at and you moderate. I moderate everything.
Right.
So the whole point is it needs to be a positive, informational, positive. We don't have any religion, politics. Not to say that there's not a place for that. It's just not a place in ILDS.
Right.
So it's just about information. Occasionally there'll be some real estate, like maybe 1 or 2% will be, but it started off as being that, and it just grew. It just took legs, and people just enjoyed it, and I
Right.
enjoyed doing it, and yeah, it's just fun. But it is time. It is time consuming. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
it is the kind of asset that really works. And look, you could monetize that, and I know you don't. You do it strictly as a volunteer.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for that. And you do it quietly and humbly, and we really appreciate it as a downtown enthusiast and member of the downtown business community. Thank you for that. It's
No,
really I read it every single day.
How do I join that? I should do that.
Well, Scott, thank you for
I
asking.
keep hearing about it. I keep hearing about this thing, and I.
this
Yeah.
Have you heard of
Okay.
a thing called Facebook?
So
It's Facebook?
First, you
Oh,
need
it's
to
on
download
Facebook?
an app on this thing called Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. And it's a app where it unites people, and you can see their friends, and you can see on a wall
I know
stuff
about
like
Facebook.
that. Okay. So
this I Love Downtown Sarasota
so
thing.
it's a group, not a page.
Okay.
Okay. And
Oh,
so you
I
type.
think I tried to get on there and I got denied. That's what happened.
Oh, well, I do a background check, Scotty, and that's probably what happened. I found that, what I'm talking about. I found that thing, and that's why we turned it down. We can't talk about that's another podcast. But no, but it's a group, not a page. It's I Love
And it is
Downtown
fun. It is
Sarasota.
fun. I like
It's-
when I wake up at about 7 a.m. and I see your post from 5 a.m. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's cool when you see it later. It's not cool when you're doing it.
So Joe, well, Mark went on vacation, and he's like, dude, can you do the little jog at 4:35 in the morning and post while I'm gone? And I did. I did 3 days, and that was enough. 3
You are
days
a
I did
friend.
it. He,
Yeah,
did,
he's-
he
friend would
does
do
it
that.
300 and plus days a year. I did it 3 days.
It's-
I was
it's-
like, I don't know.
And I'm miserable every single time I do it, but it's a discipline thing. It's if I can start off the day too good.
Well,
That's
all
fine.
kidding
Yeah.
aside, I realize that when we've done like some events, particularly like on St. Armand's, and you show up at St. Armand's at 5 in the morning, do that downtown because it's really interesting to do it. It's not really eerie. It's just very
No,
kind
it's
of
cool.
enlightening. It's
I-
a very cool experience. I would encourage people to do that. It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
a lot of fun.
Well, we
Fun.
should we talk about the running club that we're going to get back going?
Yeah,
we started running together on Wednesdays. Well, obviously he does it every day. So I started doing it at like 6 o'clock, 6:30 on Wednesdays, and we encouraged people on ILDS, hey, come join us. No one did, but maybe this round we
But maybe
can
this
get some
round we
people
get some
to do
people
it. It'll be
to
fun.
do it.
Yeah.
It's interesting how it is downtown is a whole different vibe. Like so when you're down here at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning walking around. And I do want to, in all seriousness, give a shout out to like the public works people and the city, and there's a whole different culture, a group that does. This place doesn't clean itself. So like after New Year's Eve, the party. So we had our party at Block 15, and Teresa and I were walking back at 2 o'clock in the morning. Trash everywhere. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
We came about 10 o'clock the next morning. You could not tell there was a party.
Right.
You could not. People worked throughout the evening to barricades and the trash and sweep it up. And these are all things people take for granted, I think.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
this town works very hard to keep the beauty that everyone enjoys right now.
Right.
Is because of a large group of hardworking people.
We're very
Yeah.
fortunate that I think we need to really overcome a stereotype of a city worker. Our city team here is really phenomenal, and if you see them, thank them. If you you see a police officer, thank them. If you see a city worker, thank them, because it can be a very thankless job. And there's always the one complainer that it doesn't represent the
Right.
other 100,000
Right.
people that really appreciate what they do. So it's that's something I really encourage people to do.
Absolutely. Well, this usually brings us to the question of,
Yes.
but we can't ask it, Scott.
No, I know.
You know for obvious reasons.
Well, we have to
cannot
come
ask.
up with something else.
All right. So usually what we do is we ask our guests the top 2 to 3 restaurants downtown that they would frequent. Of course, we cannot ask you that for obvious reasons.
And I can talk
you
about
can volunteer.
restaurants I love.
Yeah. Just,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to
Name
put you
a
on the
few
spot.
love. Yeah.
Because
we love them
usually-
all. We
usually-
love them all.
Yeah.
Everybody loves them all.
I will talk
But
about one.
Usually we'll put somebody
Go
on the
ahead.
spot
So
specifically,
last
but
Saturday night, we celebrated, and drum roll please, my son's 30th birthday. Yes, I'm that old to have a 30-year-old.
As
and,
am I.
we had his party at Bezzo in their private room there. They can seat up to about 24 people. We were 18, and it was like perfect in there. And it was a perfect night because, there's with tapas, you don't rush. There's food coming in and out. He had his friends from college. Mainly, it was a bunch of young people, and the flow was fantastic. We started in the bar, and then we moved into this room, and the food flowed for several hours. We had mounds of food to take home because couldn't possibly eat the amount of food that we had.
Right.
And it was a fantastic experience. So that's something I highly recommend. I think if you haven't been to Tostique downtown, I think that Laura and her team are just doing a phenomenal job there. Laura is actually an RN who works at the hospital. I don't know if anybody knows that.
I did not.
I just put that out there, but she's working 2 jobs to get this restaurant off the ground. It is fantastic. It's fresh. It's just unbelievably good, delicious, and healthy and unique, but also a great setting, a great access point. So those are 2 restaurants I can mention. I think there's plenty more to talk about, but those are 2 experiences that I'm happy to talk about.
all right. And a quick opinion that you have about Palm Avenue Deli. So what have you been in there, and what's your thoughts about it? And
Funny you should mention that.
oh, okay.
I had lunch there yesterday.
Yeah, and what were your thoughts? Because I know that they are, and I think they're currently open till midnight on certain days, and the idea being that there's a 24. They're going to eventually, possibly, hopefully, be a 24-hour open. I'm not quite sure.
I
if,
think the 24-hour thing will be great. It'll be
I'm not
interesting to see.
yeah, I'm not sure if it can sustain it
yesterday
yet. But
I've been there a few times. Yesterday I did stop in there and get some lunch, and it was very, very good.
Yeah.
And I think there's a uniqueness to that restaurant. They have great takeout. I don't really know much about them. I don't know the owners. I know that they're tied to the owners of Kojo.
Kojo's
They own
and-
all of them.
yeah.
Actually, I have met the owner of
Bayhana.
Kojo. And they look, the caliber and the quality and the uniqueness and the branding of those restaurants is unbelievable. But the food's really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kojo is a favorite. They do a great job there. The food is fantastic. I recently was in New York, and I went to Nobu and went there for dinner. Kojo's just as good, or probably better. Probably better. Less crowded, better service, better quality of food. I think a restaurant like Nobu is just a lot of production, especially in a city like New York. And I think Kojo was just as good.
all right.
That was awesome.
Very diplomatically said. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I can always talk about food.
Not
I'm
really.
100%
But, yeah.
Italian.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm just so I'm so hungry right now.
Me
I'm
too.
getting a little hangry.
Angry.
Getting a little hangry. Oh, looks like we got some music going on
Doing
over
a little
here.
singing.
Well, sir,
Anyway.
I want to thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming
guys.
on.
Thank
It was an
you.
absolute honor to have you on.
an honor to be
Joseph
here.
Grano here of Next Mark Communications, responsible for, among many things, the Fresh Friday celebrations that we have each month. Next one here being on State Street. On the second, I'm sorry, this is the second,
February
correct?
2nd.
February
Friday.
2nd,
First
from-
Friday. First
from
Friday.
But
7
make
to
sure
10
you
p.m.
visit your merchants and
Yeah.
have dinner before or after, or hit a rooftop after, or head over to the Palm Avenue Art Walk. Make it a night. We encourage people to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there should be live music out there.
Yep.
I'm sure, knowing Mr. Grano, so he has fantastic music, whoever it may be. So,
Right.
Thank you so much,
you.
sir, for coming
Have a
on.
great
Thank you,
weekend.
Have a
guys.
fantastic
Appreciate it.
weekend.
Nice meeting you.
Good to see you. Nice to see you.
Appreciate y'all.
And please let us know however we can help in any way.
You bet.
All right, awesome. God, that was
That was
good.
good.
That was good.
A lot of good information
is-
there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
a
why I
lot,
love
a lot
having.
that they do.
Right.
the city, you
Well,
know?
see, now we
A lot of
think
good
that they do
stuff.
this much, but
Right.
we have no idea how much actually goes into everything.
Right.
You know, so there's so much work involved. Everyone just kind of thinks it magically happens. You know, it does not. It takes gentlemen like Mr. Grano and many more volunteers. And you heard them. People have to, how do you run a regular party on $10,000?
Right.
Let alone a city street party on $10,000. Like, come on, it takes a village,
Right.
Everybody help out to enjoy this city. All right,
Right.
fantastic. All right, Scott. So we're
little
gonna go
break.
ahead and take a little break.
Little
We'll be
stretch.
back here shortly. We're gonna stretch,
bet.
grab a juice,
You
and
bet.
then we'll see you back in here in 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
All right,
All right.
make good choices.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll be back.